All right, let's dive right into this explainer and transform a standard 10-step standard operating procedure into your absolute ultimate playbook for capturing perfect fingerprints on the very first try. I mean, if you've ever stared at a screen totally frustrated by a rejected scan and wondered what on earth went wrong, well, you are in the exact right place. We are going to completely take the guesswork out of the live scan process today. So, here is our game plan. We're going to cover 1. The high stakes, 2. Preparation, 3. Execution, 4. The science, and finally, 5. Troubleshooting. Kicking things off with Section 1, the high stakes and the real cost of bad prints. It's super easy to look at fingerprinting as just another bureaucratic checklist, right? But honestly, a bad capture isn't just some annoying little error message flashing on your monitor. When we capture an unacceptable set of fingerprints and fire them off to the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency, or DCSA, it literally slams the brakes on the entire security investigation process. In a lot of cases, it results in the investigation request being completely returned. We're talking delays in hiring, delays in clearances, and real-world impacts on national security workflows. And that is exactly why our primary objective as operators is first try quality. Getting it right the first time, that's the whole name of the game here. Moving right along to Section 2, preparation, setting the stage. Okay, so before a single finger even touches the glass, we've got to prep both the hardware on your desk and the applicant's hands. Now, the platen, that's really just a fancy word for the scanner glass. But here's the secret. A clean, calibrated platen is the single biggest factor in first-try image quality. A tiny speck of dust, a little bit of dried residue, or even a smudge from the last applicant will literally show up as broken ridges on every single print you take, at least until you wipe it down. Always use a lint-free cloth and an approved cleaner. Oh, and if your hardware needs calibration, definitely do that before the applicant even sits down. Let's breathe through the first 5 steps of our 10-step SOP. After you prepare the workstation, you obviously verify their identity with a government ID and enter their demographic info exactly as it appears. But Step 4 is where the magic happens, inspecting the hands. Skin condition affects ridge contact more than almost anything else you control. Just take a few seconds to look for dirt, lotion, cuts, or really dry skin. If they're oily, grab an alcohol wipe. If they're dry, use just a tiny dab of Ridge Builder lotion. And finally, Step 5, set expectations. Tell them to relax, let you guide their fingers, and, this is crucial, tell them not to help you. Which brings us to Section 3, execution, the perfect capture. All right, prep is done. Now we have to actually execute the physical capture flawlessly. Basically, you've got 2 main types of prints to grab, and trust me, you need both. First, slap prints, also known as flat prints. These are captured by pressing the fingers straight down using the FBI 442 method. So that's the right 4 fingers, the left 4 fingers, and then both thumbs. On the flip side, rolling prints are captured by rolling the finger entirely from one nail edge to the other nail edge. But here's what you might not realize. The scanner software actually compares the flat slap prints to your rolling prints to verify the sequence. Some scanners even score this comparison. If that score falls below a certain threshold, there's a huge chance those prints are getting rejected. So let's knock out steps 6 through 10. You'll start by capturing the rolled prints one by one, right hand, then left. Apply only light pressure here. Usually just the natural weight of the applicant's finger is plenty. Then you move to step 7, capturing those flat slap prints we just talked about. Now, step 8 is absolutely massive. Review quality. Sure, the software is going to score the image, but your own eye is the final check. You want to ensure there's clear ridge detail, it's perfectly centered, and it's a complete nail-to-nail capture with 0 smearing. Seriously, catching a weak print right now is infinitely faster than having to recall the applicant days later. Finally, just complete the transaction and issue their receipt. Now for the fun stuff. Section 4, the science, fingerprint patterns. Understanding what the scanner is actually looking for makes us vastly better operators. Every single fingerprint out there falls into one of 3 basic patterns. Loops are the heavy hitters, right? They make up about 65% of fingers. Then you have whorls, which are these circular or spiral patterns, making up about 30%. And finally, arches, which just gently rise from one side to the other, account for a tiny 5%. Now, don't worry, you don't need to classify these yourself. The system handles that. But your primary objective when rolling a finger is to perfectly capture the center, or the core of those loops and whorls, along with the outer edges called deltas. If you skimp and don't roll all the way from nail edge to nail edge, you are going to miss those vital identifying markers. And that brings us to my absolute favorite part, minutia. Minutia are the microscopic ridges and valleys of a fingerprint that the scanner actually uses to uniquely identify the image.
Think of it like a tiny, intricate topographical map. If you push down on the scanner glass like you're trying to squish a bug, you take all those delicate little ridges and valleys and you literally mash them flat together. The scanner, it just sees a dark, blurry blob instead of a distinct map. Light pressure is what preserves the minutia.
Finally, Section 5, Troubleshooting, Overcoming Common Errors. Look, in the real world, things go wrong. Not every fingerprint is going to be perfect right out of the gate. So, memorize this if this, then that matrix. Let's break it down real quick. If you get a slippage error popping up, the finger was likely way too sweaty or you just rolled it too fast. Easy fix. Grab a paper towel, dry the fingertip, and slow down your physical roll. Now, if you get a poor quality error, the finger might be too dry or maybe you're using too little pressure. Spray a tiny bit of water or use some ridge builder, and just make sure you have steady contact. And lastly, if you get a poor minutia error, you are definitely applying too much pressure. Retake the image with less pressure. Remember this golden rule. If the ridges are faint, apply just enough pressure to see the print, and roll very, very slowly. The image actually darkens through the scanner's exposure time, not by you pressing harder.
Okay, here are some rapid-fire physical pro tips to basically guarantee success. First, keep the applicant's forearm level with the scanner. Awkward angles always create bad prints. Second, remember, you are the driver. Guide the finger yourself and explicitly tell them, please don't try to help me, because when they try to help, they twitch and boom, the print smears. Third, the exact second the roll is done, lift the finger straight up off the glass so you don't leave a smudgy tail. And finally, when you're doing those flat slap prints, don't exceed a 45-degree angle with the hand. This makes sure all fingers lay completely flat on the glass.
Before we wrap up, I really want to leave you with this one thought. Some systems out there allow an agency override when an image just stubbornly won't pass the quality check. But before you ever click that override button, ask yourself, have you truly, honestly exhausted every single technique we've covered today? Have you wiped the platen? Have you moisturized a dry hand? Did you slow down your roll and let the scanner's exposure do its job? You are the gatekeeper for the entire security vetting process, and your commitment to capturing a perfect print is exactly what keeps the whole system moving. So take control, trust your playbook, and get it right on the very first try.